Ia ni mbola vinakatala mai na Wakanda and vese voroboro ni vara mtukumena matakanikoa. Good morning from the University of Hawaii Hilo campus. For our Fijian speakers, especially for our young ones, I will address them in Fijian and then I will do another post in English. So I will be sharing some information and some history as I'm taking my daily walks around the university here in Hawaii and during the lockdown of COVID-19. Hoping to make my walk more interesting and learning and sharing about indigenous knowledge as well as the uses of trees and flowers. So, just enjoying nature. So those of you who have the opportunity to walk around wherever you may live, please take some time to smell the roses as you walk along the road or in the gardens, and that's what I'm hoping to do for this post. So here I am from the University of Hawaii Hilo, Hale Olelo. Hale Olelo. Hale is a word for house in Hawaiian, and Olelo is language. So this is a very special building that was established particularly for the revival or revitalization of the not Fijian, Hawaiian language. So today I just want to share a little bit about this tree. When I first arrived here in Hawaii, it really it caught my attention because this looks familiar to many of us who grew up back home in Fiji. So I'll just take a little bit close up. And this is a very, very interesting tree because it has a lot of medicinal purposes and other functional use. From the branches up here, the leaves and the stem and even the root. Yeah, and also good morning to those of you who are listening in and Rovinaka. So you can see the fruit here. Okay, so there's lots of fruits in this particular tree. So if you're listening in and you know what this tree is, please make a note below my link if you can. Okay, so this is a candle nut tree. Candle nut. So the word itself, candle, refers to one of its uses that is actually a source of light. Yeah, back in the day. So I'm just going to share some of the uses of this beautiful tree. For those of you from Fiji, those of you who are from the provinces of the Kondrobe and Maduata in Vanuatu and the province of Lau, you may call this Sikeci. And those of you, those of you who are maybe from Bua, they also have their own name, which is Laudi. And those of you from Nandronga, Serua, and Ba, you might call this tree Toto. And those of you from the Tikinobunda and the son of Kandavu, we may call this tree Ngerengere. And for my Polynesian cousins, those of you from Samoa, Talafalava, Tonga, Malolile, Cook Islands, Keorana, Hawaii, Aloha, they may call this tree Tuitui or Kukui in Hawaiian. So some of the Hawaiians have actually become so creative by turning these fruits here, the kukui nuts, into beautiful necklaces. So those of you who've been watching me for the last couple of years have seen that I've been wearing these beautiful Hawaiian necklaces made out of these candle nuts. Yeah, isn't that creative? So just to carry on with our candle nut 101 class, so some of the uses, as I said earlier, number one, they can be used as lamps. So in the case of Fiji, what they often do, our elders, they dry the nuts and then they put a stick across the nuts. So you can have about 24 dried candle nuts in a long skewer, like as if you were doing barbecue. And then you light one end of it and then the flame, or you can have some lights from it. Yeah, isn't that amazing? And so that's one of the uses of the wuni Sikeci or the wuni laudi, toto, gerengere here in Hawaii. But I'm sharing this because it has so many uses for us to know across the world, actually. The second use is when you burn them, when you're burning them to create light so that you can have a lamp in the house, the soot from this candle nut can be used for the tattoo markings for women. So most of you will know that the young girls in Fiji, pre-colonial days, used to have tattoos. So for them to have their body markings or the wedding gear, they often use the soot of this candle nut as markings, right? The other use is that this black soot from the candle nut is also used for the black marks for tapa, for masi. Isn't that amazing? Just from this one tree. Okay, so those of you from Fiji, if you are taking your daily walks, especially my tauvu from Nandronga and Ra, you should be walking, okay, so we can all be healthy. So the other one is jewelry. As I said before, the Hawaiians, they go one step ahead and turn these beautiful nuts into jewelry. The other one, which is the root. Okay, I'm going to take you closer to this tree. So this is the trunk, but if you cut it, I didn't bring any knife, but I might do it tomorrow. The root of this tree can produce the red dye. And in some places they use the red dye. I think in the case of Tonga, you can use it for your masi or kapa or tapa. And also the lotion can be made from the candle nut itself, because within the nuts it has a lot of oil. Okay, so they can turn the actual nut. So this is the kernel. Okay, so this is the outer kernel. So the nut is actually inside. Okay, and then they can turn it into body lotion. And also during times of distress, okay, when they have famine, there's lack of food, they can actually roast these nuts and it can be consumed. It cannot be consumed when it's green because it's not pleasant. But during maybe pandemics, as what we're going through now with COVID-19, right? But in the olden days when they have famine, you can roast the nuts, the inner nut, and it can be consumed, and it's also good for the body. So, and also I learned that the timber is not as strong, it's quite weak, but you can use it for what we call in Fijian the vata. So you can just use it for smaller uses within the house. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen, my short video about this very special tree, the candle nut tree, and live from Hale'olelo here at the University of Hawaii Hilo campus. Such a beautiful day. It wasn't as sunny as the other day. It was rainy this morning, but I still took the opportunity to take a beautiful walk, and the sky is opening up with this beautiful sun smiling at me, and it's making me feel so happy. And I'm so glad to also share the story of this beautiful tree for all of us to enjoy. And that is my post for this morning, and then I will also do another live in Fijian for our young ones. Nakavakalevu, and enjoy your day. Samwa demanda.